my channel. My name is Carly Stevens. I am the author of the young adult fantasy novel Furian Rising, and this is English Nerd. So, this video is going to kick off a short series of videos just celebrating and anticipating the release of Furian Rising, which comes out on July 15th, 2019. And so in honor of that, to kick things off, I wanted to do a new tag. It's called the Cinematic Book Tag. So before I get started, I wanted to tag Bethany Atazadeh, who is the author of a few different books, ranging from The Confident Corgi, which is a really cute children's book, to her newest series, The Stolen Kingdom, which is really cool looking. The first installment of that series comes out in August, I believe, and you have to check out the cover. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you notice, I am sporting my gear today. I have a mug and a shirt, see? All from Redbubble, so if you are interested in getting some merch, or if you end up liking the book well enough to, expand your collection of Furian gear, then Redbubble is the place to go. Anyway, enough about that. There are 9 questions to this tag. They all have to do with the story, the book that's coming out, and it kind of has a cinematic spin, as the tag title would suggest. So let's dive in. Okay, number 1, meet the book. What is your book's genre and intended audience? Is it a standalone or a series? So my book genre, it's young adult fantasy, as I said in the introduction. So that is intended for high school age students, like 15 to 19, maybe just toggled a tiny bit older would be the intended audience. But of course, a lot of people read YA, so if you are a 30-year-old woman who enjoys reading YA, then hey, go to town. But the intended audience is a young adult audience, so kind of mid to late high school age. Furian Rising is the first book in a series. It's called the Tanuan Academy series. Right now I'm thinking that there will be 3 books. I'm still finalizing the very last book, so there's a small possibility that it could be 4, but in any case, it is a series and not a standalone. Number 2 question is, meet the hero. Who is your main character? Either give their Myers-Briggs personality, enneagram, or Hogwarts House, or all 3 if you're feeling fancy. So I actually have 2 main characters in Furian Rising. There's Furian, of course, and then Kyria as well, who is the other protagonist. So I'll start with Furian. His personality would most definitely be Slytherin, that focus on ambition and cunning and all of that, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I've tried to type him as a Myers-Briggs, but nothing's really stuck. For a while I thought he was an INTJ, but a lot of his personality traits don't quite line up with an INTJ. Maybe somebody who knows Myers-Briggs better could tell me once the book comes out. Enneagram. If you're not familiar with the Enneagram, it's kind of an up-and-coming personality, a way of understanding personalities that focuses on what drives you, what are some of your core fears, what are some of your core strengths, and Furian would be an 8 on the Enneagram scale, so his focus is on power more than other things, both the positive and negative aspects of that. Kyria, my other main character, she is basically the princess of the kingdom. She would be a Hufflepuff. I thought about it. She's not a Slytherin, that's for sure. And I don't think she's a Ravenclaw or a Gryffindor. She seems to be pretty clearly a Hufflepuff to me. And on the Enneagram scale, she would be a 1, who is more concerned with goodness. Again, both the positive and negative aspects of having this kind of fixation on being good, on being right. So those would be the 2. Again, I tried to type her as a Myers-Briggs, but I was thinking maybe INFP, but that's too... She's a little more, like, at least according to the stereotype of an INFP, they're not super practical, and I think that Kyria has more of that practicality. So I haven't nailed the Myers-Briggs, but anyway, I probably already spent too much time on this question anyway. Okay, number 3. C, the villain. Who would play your antagonist in a movie? Or if you can't think of anybody, then cast another secondary character. So for that one, I would not, I don't know that you could really count him as an antagonist per se, but you never quite know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. He seems to really ride that line. That would be Furion's teacher when he first arrives at the Tanyuan Academy, Master Bellick. So Master Bellick is the only person that I'm absolutely sure about the casting. Like if this were to become a movie or something, I've thought about who the other people would be, but this character is pretty clearly Sean Bean. I think Sean Bean could do an excellent job. A couple other people could play Master Bellick, but if I could have my druthers, Sean Bean would be the one who could do the best job. Okay, number 4, shake hands with the cast. Which character from your book would you most like to meet in person, and would you least like to meet in person? This one's kind of tricky. I'm not 100% sure, actually. I think it'd be nice to meet Kyria. I think we would get along super well. We have a lot of things in common. Bard would be nice, but he's a little nervous sometimes. You could have a good time with Jory. So I'm gonna say Kyria. I'm gonna stick with her. Least like to meet. Furion has another teacher besides Bellick, who is more of his like physical education kind of teacher, whose name is Master Joven. I would very much not like to meet him. He seems like a terrible human being, so he would probably be top of the list of not wanting to meet. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. A lot of options, but I'll just go with that. I'd like to meet Kyria. I would not like to meet Joven. Okay, number 5, tour the setting. If you were a tour guide through the main setting of your book, what would you recommend for travelers to see? So there are 2 main settings, just like there are 2 main characters, there are 2 main settings in my book. There is the academy, where Furion is training and all of that, and then there is the capital city of Breathnim, where Kyria is the princess. I think it would be really cool to see in Breathnim a couple of places. There's the palace, which is gorgeous. It's right on this cliff that overlooks the sea. It has 3 big wings and some manicured gardens and, you know, just carved doors and flags up on the battlements. It would be really, really gorgeous. And then another thing that would be neat to see, there would actually be a lot of places I'd want to see. But another place in Breathnim that would be cool is that there is this arena that used to be used like hundreds of years ago for just horrible sacrifices of people and things like that, but it has since been repurposed into a place where they have some ceremonies and can give speeches and do things that are not so horrible. And there's statues right in the middle of the arena now of some of the heroes of the war that stopped all of those human sacrifices. I think it'd be cool to see that as well. But there are definitely some other settings in the book that I would love to see in real life. That would be the first thing to come to mind, though. Okay, number 6, try the style. People often recommend books based on existing taste. What already published books are a natural fit for your audience because they provide a similar reading experience? So I've given this some thought. Since I'm an English teacher, most of the books that I've read over the past 10 years have been classics, you know, Dickens, Dostoevsky, Shakespeare, that kind of stuff. But in the last couple of years, I've gotten back into reading contemporary YA fantasy, and that's been just a complete blast. So I haven't found anything that makes me go, oh yeah, that's a perfect match for the story that I'm telling, which I guess is a good thing. I'm telling a story that's not one that you see all the time. But a couple of stories that do give a kind of similar experience, I think, would be Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard or Ender's Game. Oh shoot, who wrote Ender's Game. Give it just a second. Where are you? Orson Scott Card. Okay, I knew that. Sorry. Or Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. There are definite similarities between my story and then those two. Kind of if you mash them up, then you would end up with something that was analogous to Furion Rising. Okay, number 7. What was the inspiration for your story? So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I started this story back when I was 17 in high school, and then rediscovered it about a year and a half ago, and have just overhauled it completely and made it awesome. But all that to say, I've been thinking about this story kind of in the background for so many years that it's not like there's one thing that was the inspiration for the story necessarily. I can see pieces of a lot of things. I can see pieces of The Matrix, I can see pieces of Star Wars, I can see pieces, it seems like there are a lot of sci-fi kind of inspirations, but it is a fantasy for sure. You can see maybe tiny pieces of Lord of the Rings, but it's not very Lord of the Ringsy. Gosh, I feel like there's one more thing that was a major... Well, I mean, I literally can see pieces of Crime and Punishment and Fahrenheit 451 and Harry Potter, and I can almost point to some of the different things that I was reading as I was writing certain scenes, because I thought, oh, that's a great way of using description or whatever. So it's quite a hodgepodge of different things. I feel like I should have more prepared answers. Since I came up with these questions, I should have prepared my answers ahead of time, but this is a more organic way of doing it, maybe. Okay, number 8. Feel the music. What song should accompany a trailer for this book? I've had a couple of ideas on this, not like I think it's going to be made into a movie, but it's always fun to dream. And my latest song that reminds me of the story is called Power Over Me by Dermot Kennedy. It's a really awesome song, and I think it would just be the perfect one for a trailer for this book. Or like for the credits at the end. It would be really good for the credits at the end. Okay, number 9, last one. Unveiling in 3, 2, 1. When is the release date? Are there any fun launch details you can share? So the release date, as I said before, is July 15th, 2019. So as this video is coming out, that is 1 week from today. 1 week from today. It's coming really, really soon. As far as the launch goes, there are a couple of launch details that I can share. I am doing a couple of live events, so if you're in the Colorado Front Range kind of area, then head over to my website, carly-stevens.com, and I have a couple events going on that week. There's a Barnes & Noble signing and a release party at a library as well. I'm giving away a hard copy, a signed hard copy, to somebody on my email list. So if you have not signed up for my email list, definitely do so. I'm going to be drawing a random name on July 15th and giving away this beautiful book. I mean, just look at that. It's absolutely stunning. Yeah, so those are just a couple of the things going on. If you head over to my Instagram, there will be another big giveaway just through Instagram. And yeah, a couple other things that I'll let you know about once it gets closer. The email list really is the best way to stay involved and aware of everything that's going on that week, though. Yeah, so that is it. If you like this video, like it, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for the support that you've already shown me with this book. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so I'll see you very soon.